Hi everyone, Jeremy here from Davinci Studio. Today I'm excited to announce our Explainer Bundle, the ultimate toolkit to elevate your storytelling and presentation video. With over 300 assets across 7 distinct packs, this bundle has everything you need to create stunning visuals. In this video, I'll show you how to use the sample assets from each pack to build a quick demo. And you can easily follow along. Just download the free sample bundle with the link in the description below, which include all the 7 titles featured in this tutorial. So if you're ready, let's jump right into it. You can download the Explainer Bundle sample by clicking the link in the description below. It will give you this zip file, just double click on it to unzip it. In the folder, you'll find a couple of things. You get the license, the installation instruction, the JFX file, and the font. Please make sure to install all the font, otherwise the title will not work. So select all the font and then double click on them to start the installation process. Then you can go to the JFX file and double click on it to start the installation. Click install. Then once in Davinci Resolve, you can go over to Effect, Titles, Davinci Studio, and then here you will find the bundle sample. You can then just click on it and you will have the explainer right here. You have here a bunch of different titles that you can then choose from. So now we could start to use them directly by drag and dropping them in our timeline. But for this one, I would like to go a step further since you can already see those individual videos on the channel. I will link to them in the description below where I'm going into more detail as to what each of those different titles can do and how to use them. For this video, I would like to make a complete edit. So I'm going to be using a voiceover and some stock footage to try to make a cohesive 30-second edit and use those different assets to try to elevate that edit. I'm not going to be spending too much time explaining you how to cut footage and how to set up a proper timeline. This is going to be a focus on using those assets to complement the footage that you already have in your edit. But basically right now I'm going to use some stock footage from Artlist or Rgrid. It's the same, but they are rebranding at the moment, so I'm not sure which one to call it. And they also have a voiceover feature that I'm going to be using to create a voiceover for this sequence. You need to pay to have access to Artlist, and I know that not everybody necessarily will have access to it. So if you need to access some stock footage, there is plenty of great other websites that you can have access to. There is 2 great alternatives that are Pexels and Pixabay. In my case, I've already generated a voiceover that I'm simply gonna drag and drop here in my timeline. And I'm gonna start to lay out some footage as well to just create my edit and make sure that my cuts are matching what my voiceover is saying, adding some music, and then after that, we're gonna be able to start utilizing a second layer on our timeline to create more interesting frames and trying to bring more visual clarity using those different motion graphic assets. Alright, so I've just made a quick edit here in Davinci Resolve. I have put some music in the background, the voiceover, and then here I've just cut out a bunch of footage related to avocado and the import of avocado in the US. I don't know, I just pick a random topic and then try to make an edit about it using stock footage online. It's pretty simple editing. There is not much to talk about here. We're gonna focus now on how we can try to elevate that edit using those motion graphics. So let's first watch the beginning here of the video and see what we could use to just complement the footage.
Did you know that over 2 billion pounds of avocados have been imported in the US in 2020?
So here I'm going to be using this highlighting text effect to introduce what the topic is about. And then here I'm going to use that date counter to say that a bunch of avocado have been imported in 2024. So I'm going to start by here using the explainer pack sample. I'm going to take that and drag that in. And then here I'm going to put whatever text I want. In that case, 2 billion. I want to highlight the fact that there is 2 billion avocado imported in the US. Now I've written some text, 2 billion avocados imported in the United States.
Did
now,
you know
as you can
that
see,
over
there is a
2
problem.
billion pounds
We have too many highlight here for what we have written. I'm just gonna use only one highlight, and so therefore we're getting rid of all the other one. What I'm gonna do as well, I'm gonna align that highlight. So here we're gonna go to the first highlight, and I'm gonna extend a bit the height, and I'm gonna just drag that also to expand the width, and then we're just gonna reposition that properly on our text. Here we go. Now also I'm gonna make some modification here to the text. In this case, actually I'm gonna remove the in the United States. I'm just gonna keep the 2 billion import. And then we're going to talk about the US after when we mentioning in 2024. Then here, I'm simply going to reposition the text to put it like here in the center. Then here, same. And I'm going to also increase the size a little bit and reposition it here to the side so it's perfectly centered. Now we have a bigger vision on it, we can make some fine adjustment to the proportion to make sure that everything is properly aligned. And here we go. I think now we have something that is well balanced between each corner of the highlight and the text. So I'm gonna have that first title here for the first 2 pieces of footage right there. We're getting some frame drop right here at 21 frame roughly. So to avoid that, we're gonna use the caching functionality inside of Resolve. We're gonna go over to playback, run the cache, and then we're gonna select smart. We're still able to play it back, but it's gonna be smoother once that has been caching. And now since I'm done with it and I'm not gonna make any more modification to it, like I might as well just cache it in. So that way I will get real-time playback easily. Right now it's switching from red to blue. And when it's completely blue, that means that the title has been fully cached in. And
Did you know that over 2 billion pounds of avocados have been...
Then here for this second part, we're gonna use a title to display 2023. So I'm gonna take that and drag that in my timeline. And then here we're gonna choose all numbers. So here we have number control, and the way it works, we can basically display here each number we want. So we have here the first number, and then we can select between 0 to 9. So in our case, we've selected 2023. And then here, I'm gonna change the animation length to be 1 second. That way we're gonna have a quickest animation.
Been imported in the US in 2020.
I'm gonna make some modification now to the text. So I'm gonna go over to the text styling, and then here we're gonna switch from Roboto to Pop-in. I'm gonna go over to the size and position, and we're gonna increase the overall size, and we're gonna go and place it in a corner. So I'm gonna just place it here in the left corner, and then I'm gonna go over to the glow, and then here we're gonna increase the gain and decrease the glow size to have a glow that is more concentrated within the text. Now I'm gonna trim my excess right here, and I'm gonna reuse the first title to complement here this one. So I'm gonna take it, hold Option on my keyboard, and just drag it right above it. Then here I'm gonna make it the same length, and I'm gonna change the text for US market. Then here I'm gonna reduce the highlight width, and I'm then gonna be adjusting the overall size and position. So here I'm gonna reduce the size, and we're gonna bring the position right below 2023. And on this one, I don't want to have an animation out. So I'm gonna go to the animation out, and I'm gonna select none. That way we're gonna keep everything on screen. And actually that I'm seeing the second shot, I'm gonna try to displace everything and place it right here, pretty much center on the vertical axis. So to move both of them, I can just select them, create a compound clip. Now that I know I'm not gonna be moving them around too much. And then I'm simply gonna adjust here the position and drag that down here.
Did you know that over 2 billion pounds of avocados have been imported in the US in 2023?
Now we need to show that those avocados are coming from Mexico to the US. To do that, we're gonna use the world map. So I'm gonna take it and drag it here in our timeline. And then we're gonna use the line to actually display the distance between Mexico to the US. So right now I'm gonna go in between my titles so I can see actually what I'm doing. And we're gonna start with the line here. We're gonna select 1 point, meaning that we have basically only 1 line, and we need to go from the first point to the second one. Then in my map, we're gonna be zooming a little bit so we can see a bit more the US and Mexico, since that's all focused. So I'm zooming in, and then here I'm displacing it to show the US and Mexico. Now we're gonna place the point of our line. So I'm gonna select my line. Then here we're gonna go to circle, and then I'm gonna go here to line, and I'm gonna line up my point. So I'm gonna have my starting point in Mexico, since that's the source, and then I'm gonna have my arriving point let's say around LA. Now we can make some more customization to our line. For example, here with the shadow, so same thing, I'm gonna increase the blur of that shadow, and then I'm gonna increase also the gain of the glow. Also by default on the map, we have a background. I'm gonna reduce the opacity so we can see the footage behind it. So here, I'm just gonna decrease slightly that opacity. Actually, I'm gonna change the color to like a pure black, so it's actually darker. And then here, I'm gonna decrease that. So now this is helping us represent, where the avocado are starting their journey and when they're arriving. Now we're gonna use this as a base and start to add more information to make it clearer to the audience what is actually going on. So let's just continue and see how we could just arrange that.
Most of these avocados come all the way from Mexico. In fact, the journey starts right here in Michoacan. They're harvested in June and delivered by...
So here, I think this map, we can extend it to the second footage right here. I'm gonna be changing a bit the position of the point because I want to add another pointer. So what I'm gonna do here in the line, I'm gonna adjust that pointer to be a bit more central and generic to, Mexico. And then we're gonna add a specific point for the location that has been mentioned by the voiceover. In the bundle, you get plenty of pointer to just display those kind of places in a different, kind of way. But right now I'm limited with what I have right here. So I'm just going to use a few tricks to just get a simple circle animation right here. And then I'm going to use that pointer to point at it and potentially this to put the name of the location. So here I'm going to start by duplicating my line. And we're gonna have it start here when the city is mentioned. So we're gonna then move the position of that dot in the right spot. So I'm gonna bring it down right here. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy the same value here for the second point. Same thing here. That way we're gonna have only one point appearing.
Right here in Michoacan.
Now to emphasize this, I'm gonna add that arrow pointer. So we're gonna drag that right above it. And then here, same, I'm gonna reduce it to the right length. We can then here remove the shadow or decrease it. So here I'm gonna decrease the strength and I'm gonna increase the blur. We're gonna then reduce the overall size of that pointer. And here we're gonna just reduce that arrow, bring it down where the point is. And then here, we're just gonna change the angle to put the emphasis on what we want. Now to add some more precision, we're gonna start to add the name. So I'm gonna bring here the first title that we've used and I'm gonna place it to display Michoacan. So I'm gonna go over to text, then here we're gonna write Michoacan. I'm gonna reduce the animation length to 1 second because I want it to be fairly fast. Then here I'm gonna adjust the width and we're gonna adjust the overall position. Same here with the size, we're gonna reduce the size considerably, bring it in the right spot. And then here for the animation, I want to make sure not to have an animation out for this title. So I'm gonna switch it to none. That way it's just gonna remain on screen. And then here, I don't have an animation by default for the pointer sample because it's continuously animated. So what I'm gonna do instead, I'm gonna be zooming in. Then here, we're gonna select the pointer sample and we should have access to that little handle right here. That's gonna allow us to do fade in animation. So right now, as you can see, the pointer is kind of fading in as everything is coming into place. Now, if we want, we can also add the name of the country and the cities, etc. Right now, I'm not going to do it because we don't have a lot of assets. That's what the bundle is made for. So using too much of the same asset on a single composition might get a bit repetitive. But if you don't have the bundle, what you can use is the free starter pack. There is a bunch of different assets that can definitely be used here and that can help you enhance your composition. And we might use some of it in that video. For example, here to the side, we could use the ultimate counter, which is in the free starter pack. So here, I'm gonna, for example, drag it in the timeline and I'm gonna overlay that right above here. Let's imagine there is 62% of avocado that are actually coming from Mexico. We're gonna just use this counter right here to display that. So I'm gonna just here change the prefix from a $sign to a suffix as a percentage sign. And then I'm gonna change the starting number from 0 to 62. Then I'm gonna change the text right here. We're gonna say that 62% of the avocado imported in the US are coming from Mexico. Then we're gonna increase the size of that text and we're gonna just bring it down here to the side. I'm gonna reduce the size a little bit just so it fits in that corner right here. Then we're gonna do the same thing with the contour itself. So we're gonna increase the size of the contour, and I'm gonna adjust the position of it to bring it down there. Right now it's slightly too big. I'm gonna reduce that size. I'm also gonna have the animation length in second being 1 instead of 2, so it's faster coming into screen, and I want no animation out. Then right now I could use the highlight text that we generally use to highlight another piece of text in another title. We can simply delete all the text from it and using the highlight only. So that's what I'm gonna do right here to highlight USA and Mexico. I'm gonna just duplicate it, holding Option on my keyboard, and then here I'm just gonna drag it above the first text. Then here I can remove the text, and we're gonna adjust the position here of the highlight. So I'm gonna move the highlight where I want it to be. So here, for example, to highlight Mexico, and I'm actually gonna put it below the counter, and I'm gonna bring everything up right here. And now we have the highlight being right behind Mexico. I'm gonna make some fine adjustment to adjust the overall height and the overall position. Now, when she's saying Mexico, I'm gonna highlight Mexico on that timing. So let's play it.
Most of these avocados come all the way from Mexico.
So Mexico, she's starting to say it here. So we're gonna highlight it at that moment.
Most of these avocados come all the way from Mexico.
Slightly before, here we go. And I'm just gonna extend that. So right now we've edited the first 15 seconds of the video. So let's quickly go through what we've created so far. Let's play it.
Did you know that over 2 billion pounds of avocados have been imported in the US in 2023? Most of these avocados come all the way from Mexico. In fact, the journey starts right here in Michoacan. They're harvested in June and
so that's already pretty good. Definitely there is some more fine tuning that could be happening. Right now I'm creating this live with you, but that's how those simple titles can help you enhance your composition. Now let's continue and use the few other titles that we haven't used yet. The next one is going to be the timeline. We're going to go from a certain date to another one. Let's play it.
They're harvested in June and delivered by August.
So here we want to display that they have been harvested in June and they are delivered in the US by August, right? So here we're just gonna drag that down and we're gonna have our point starting from June. So here I'm gonna go to text control. We're gonna have our starting point being June and then our ending point being August. I've reduced this to fit my two clip. Now we're just gonna take it, we're gonna increase the overall size and we're gonna bring it down. Right now I'm gonna do a few cosmetic arrangement to this. I'm gonna keep increasing the size a little bit so it's very clear. I'm gonna drag it slightly lower. And here I'm gonna need to have some support to create some shade for the title to pop a little bit more. We don't have it here in the bundle sample, but in our free starter pack in effect, we have something that is shadow, glow, and background. So we're just gonna go here to the free starter pack and we're gonna take the shadow, glow, background and drag that on. Now that allowing me to here have control over the shadow, so I can increase the shadow strength and then I can increase here the blur to help it pop it a bit more. I'm gonna reduce the drop distance to get it closer to our text. And then here I'm gonna increase the blur a little bit. We're also gonna use the background as support. So I'm gonna increase here the opacity and then we're gonna bring it down. And then here I'm gonna increase the soft edge. So we're getting like a bit more of a fade right here. But as you can see, it has also affected the side. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna increase the width from 1 to 2. And lastly, we're gonna decrease here the opacity. Now the last step for me gonna be here to increase the glow. So I'm gonna increase the gain and I'm gonna decrease the glow size a little bit. And now we have something that is popping a lot more. That's like a very useful trick in my opinion to use those three in combination to help your titles stand out. I have a full tutorial explaining this. Now right now if I play it, I think I need to adjust a bit the timing of the animation. As you can see, that's gonna be slightly too fast.
They're harvested in June and delivered by August.
So I'm gonna go here to my timeline. I'm gonna go from effect to video. And now I'm just gonna reduce the animation length from 3 to 2.
They're harvested in June and delivered by August.
Now for this shot, I'm gonna need to show the dimension of the avocado. So I'm gonna take the dimension pack sample, drag it right above it, and then we're just gonna reduce the size. So the voiceover said that the avocado can reach a size of 28. So here I'm gonna write size 28. I'm gonna change the font for Poppin, and we're gonna increase the overall size. So here size 28, here we go. And I'm gonna fine tune the adjustment for the size of the line and the control. So here I'm gonna increase the overall size, and then I'm gonna increase the size of the dot themselves. Then the line edge, same thing here. I'm gonna increase the border size and then make some adjustment here to the text mask so we can clearly read the text. Here we go. Same here with the animation length. I'm gonna have it coming into play fairly fast, so 1 second. And then I'm gonna have the animation out off. Now to have it pop a little bit more, we're gonna use the glow once again. So I'm gonna increase here the gain, and I'm gonna slightly decrease the glow size. Then we're gonna use one last time the explainer pack sample, and we're gonna just drag it right above here for maybe the explanation of like an article. So here you can just paste whatever text you want from like an article or something, and then you can highlight like the specific benefit of like avocado, for example. So right now I'm just gonna do just that. I'm gonna select my text and I'm gonna paste some random text from Google. We can then just align it properly here by jumping the lines a little bit. So here fiber to the next line, then avocado. Now we can reduce the overall size of the text. And now we're gonna use this time the highlight count 3 times to try to highlight what is important. So for example here, the first one I'm gonna use is gonna be height in fiber. So I'm just gonna drag that properly here on avocado is high in fiber. I'm just gonna bring it at the beginning of the text, and then I'm gonna extend the width. Then I'm gonna do the same thing here for the highlight 2. So I'm gonna move the highlight 2 in the right spot. And at this point, I think you got the idea, so I'm just gonna do the same thing with the third one. Now, same thing as I mentioned in the past, for this one, that will be helpful to have the background. So we're gonna go back again to the effect from the free starter pack, and we're gonna drag here background on our explainer, and I'm then gonna just bring the opacity up a little bit, and that's gonna help us just make the text pop a little bit more. Then here, I'm just gonna reduce the overall size of the title, and we should be good. And then lastly, I'm gonna use the list and bullet point sample to list basically what we're gonna be talking about in this video. So here I'm gonna extend that list and bullet point sample to the length of my clip. And then here I'm gonna start listing my different points. So I'm gonna open the bullet point text. In my case, I'm gonna have 3 bullet points. So I'm gonna select point count here at 3, and I'm gonna start to paste on my point. Then I'm gonna do the same here for my header, and I'm gonna write in this video. I'm gonna adjust the bullet point style. So right now it's a square, but I would rather that to be a circle. So I'm gonna do that right here. And now everything has been switched from square to circle. I wanna bring the overall position more down. So I'm gonna bring that about halfway down. And actually, I think I would like to have it center. To do that in a nice way and having it balanced, I'm gonna add a second line here by going back to the bullet point. And then here, I'm gonna go towards of adding them. I'm gonna take adding them and bring it to the second line. Now I can go back to the size and position, and I can put them in the center. Can there also increase the overall size. And actually, I would like to reduce the overall size of the bullet point. So here I'm gonna reduce to 0.001. I'm gonna do the same trick as before with the background. In those scenarios, that's very useful. Once again, I'm gonna just go back to the effect and drag the background. And here we go. Now we got our bullet list. If we want to have them being displayed each one by one, there is a full tutorial on that. I will link to it in the description below. That's just the main functionality of that list and bullet point pack. But already right now the video is way too long, so I'm not gonna bore you with this. So that's how we've been able to produce this little sequence. I hope that was helpful. Again, you can download everything in the description below. And if you enjoy those kind of assets, there is a full pack available on our website that contain over 300 different assets to help you craft those kind of explainer video. We've really think it through to give you everything you need at your fingertips so you're able to produce any sort of video. Here is the final result of the avocado sequence we've just created. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Most of these avocados come all the way from Mexico. In fact, the journey starts right here in Michoacan. They're harvested in June and delivered by August. This region produces avocados that can reach a size of 28. Research shows that avocados are packed with vitamins and good fats. In this video, we'll break down where avocados are grown, their journey to your table, and the health benefits of adding them to your diet.
Speed up your workflow and create better videos using the pack available on our website, including titles, transition, and templates built only for Davinci Resolve. Get started today by downloading our free starter pack that contains over 150 elements. Link in the description below or at videoeditorstudio.com.